Ready, Boots?
Yes. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, 5011 fam.
These boots are made for walking,
Ooh.
and
Do,
that's
do,
just
do,
what
do,
they
do, do,
do.
do, do, boom, boom. Yes, here for it. Y'all, clearly, 5011 Chronicles, DiDi
We are
Jay,
here.
doing what we do, having conversations that spark conversation, y'all, and we are so excited. Y'all, we're beginning to wrap up this season here. We're getting to the end of this season. We're so excited because we've grown so much. We've seen so much this season. We're excited where this show's been going, where the divine has been taking us. So I'm really excited. So as we do get, to the end of this season, it's going to be a lot of Kiki. It's going to be a lot of Kiki because we're just completely letting hair down. I feel like we're just really kind of vibing because during this time, it's also going to be a retrograde going on. So we're not trying to get into look, we're trying to make it easy for ourselves. We're not trying to,
We don't want to
no,
stress.
enough is
No
enough.
more than we already have.
Than we already have and already are because life has been lifing. So this
Yes.
is going to be a continuation of conversation on friendship. We're going to talk about some more things. I got a couple questions for D that we're just going to kind of throw into the atmosphere. And I want to hear from y'all too with some of these questions. So be listening, be getting ready because you're going to see some engagement opportunities to engage with us and to answer them. But also we're going to talk a little current event. There's been some new music that dropped since the last time we've talked. There have been some new life adjustments that have happened
Yeah.
since the last time we've talked. There have been a lot of craziness, and our For the Culture is going to be one that for me as a person who followed the person that this conversation is about, I'm a little disappointed. So it's going to be a whole For the Culture about disappointment, but it's going to be a current conversation. So we're really excited
Yeah.
for y'all tuning in to this episode, this edition of the 50 Chronicles.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yes. Period.
To do that.
It just is. It works. So before we get into some of the friendship conversation, I want to give a quick life thing. I didn't know if I was going to say anything about this or not on the show. And I feel like I just want to. I feel like there's something in me that is recognizing this as an opportunity to talk about something. So I'm just going to do it super quick. We're not getting into the nitty gritty of all the details of everything, but I recently experienced in my family a health scare that threw all of us for a loop, y'all. It was one of those things that comes out of the blue, completely random, and it just takes everybody for a loop. And we all have to adjust. Everybody has to adjust to a new norm for this moment of trying to figure out what's happening. And in that moment, the message that came through loud and clear for me that I just really feel is necessary for me to share with our growing network, our growing family, the 5011 fam, is that every day is a gift. There is an opportunity every single day to tell someone you love them. There's an opportunity every single day to show someone you love them. There's an opportunity every single day to make somebody else's day. It's not about you. It's not always about you. And with what happened, it was an opportunity for me to step up and for me to take on a lot of responsibility and to take a very direct hand in what was going on. And it was a lot. It was so much so that we didn't record an episode, and it was so much so that I didn't do a J safe space. It was so much so that I did not go to work. It was so much so that I needed to completely reset, and Spirit came through and spoke to me. And it was almost like sometimes in our life, as we're preparing for the next stage, the next leap, the next transition, you have to have a reset period. Sometimes you get the opportunity for a reset period where you can reground yourself. And I got to connect back with the earth, and I got to connect back with God and the ancestors in a way that is different and has supercharged my relationship with them. Because before, faith to me had looked like a sporadic. Here, I'm gonna shoot a prayer. I need you, God. I need you right now. It's an emergency. I need some help. And then faith became a practice. It became a relationship, a daily relationship. So when crisis appeared and God gave me the signs that everything was fine, I could stop worrying. I could pay attention, but I could stop worrying because God showed me through a variety of signs. There were a couple things that me and God have a relationship that when I see certain things, this is me letting you know I'm right here in this moment, recognizing how you feel and letting you know everything is okay. And there were a few moments that came throughout the tumultuous weekend that I had. There were a few moments that came throughout that God reminded me that everything is in in the play of what I have designed just for you. And it was just, it was a week, a test of faith, a test of body and strength and stamina. But I'm grateful to say that things are well now. Everything is good with all involved. More importantly, I think faith is strengthened. Fire is ignited. Air is blowing. All the elements are present. All the folks are in the room, and there's a recharge that's like, here's our goal. This is what's next. This is where we're going, because every day is a gift, which is why it's called the present. You can remember it that way. Every day is a gift. Every moment is a gift. And when you have people around you that you love, it is just so important that you take every opportunity to tell them you love them, because you might not have it again.
Big facts.
It could change in the blink of an eye. So now that that's done, and we've gone off the deep end into all of the emotions, and we're just kind of, let's pull back up. Okay, so we're gonna shoot right back up. Before we get into this conversation of friends, there's been some new music to drop, and singer-songwriter over here, growing, budding producer, composer. I get like really excited about new music, especially when they're from artists that I follow or that I'm interested in, just like their development or their whatever. Before we get into the huge horse that is in the room, I think that it's time to recognize a pony. And
I know you didn't mean that to be.
Actually, I did. It was like a touch. It was a teensy weensy, like a little shade. But Tyla dropped a self-titled album. It's her debut album. And I have a couple emotions and feelings about it. Now, everybody knows Tyla from her cute little song, Water. Make me sweat.
Yeah, I love that song.
Make me laugh. It's, cute. Really cute song. It's cute dancing. I listened to the album, and before listening to it, I accidentally stumbled upon some reviews from Black Twitter. And a couple of the reviews that I've seen said something along the lines of redundant. Like, just to sum it up, it was like redundancy. There's redundancy. There's some, and when I listened to the album, I saw it. I saw that there's a sound that she has, that it's more than just the sound. It's almost like there were these different variations of the song Water on this album. And what's interesting is where it could have been bad, it was okay. But for me, there were some gems on that album that are not the songs they're pushing. I like the song Safer. It's one of the first songs off the album. It has that West African feel because she's, I think, South African. I think she's from, across the sea, across the oceans. I think she's from the continent. I think she's South African, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah,
and her sound definitely is like a blend of R&B and like different forms of Afrobeat and Afrobeats and all the different things that they have going on the continent. So I like her sound. Safer was a song that I really enjoyed. And then there's a song called Butterflies. I really like that one. Really like that. I mean, I like Water, and I like, what's the other single of hers? Truth or Dare? Truth or Dare is a bop.
Yeah,
I like Truth or Dare actually more than I like Water. Water's cute, but Truth or Dare, I feel like she's singing down. But she actually sings more on songs like Butterflies, and Safer. And I listen for actual singing because I love a good singer, like a good vocalist, like who really just attacks notes. I really enjoy that. And I think she did a good job with her album. Cowboy Carter.
Cowboy Carter.
The Beyonce Act 2. Oh my gosh. I have to say this. I'm having the craziest moment of deja vu right now. It's wild. Like, it's everything from looking at you to us talking about this album. It's okay. So here we are again. Confirmation. But Cowboy Carter.
Yes.
I know you listened to the album. I want to hear what you think. What did you think about it?
Okay, so I thought a few things. First of all, overall, it's a great album. Let's be for real. It's a great body of work. It has vocals. I love the way, like one of my favorite things about the entire album is the way she was layering her vocals. The
She's a queen of
layering
layering.
for me was everything. But overall, of course, Beyonce is not going to put out no trash.
No trash
It was a
album
really
at
good
all.
album. So now I will say this. I think that people underestimate the level of skill it takes to sing country. And if you don't know what you're doing, no matter how good of a singer you are, you can get to Billy Goat territory real fast.
Real quick.
You there.
Yes.
Like, if you don't know how to yodel the right way, you ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna be the chicken that make it across the road. Like,
she did it.
She did. Now, there were moments on certain songs where I could tell that, like, it felt like the twang felt forced. But it's because that's not her lane. So it's understandable that anybody who doesn't just sing country, there are certain skills and intricacies that they know that just do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like as a Beyonce album and as Texas type of country, on point.
Brilliant. I agree.
Bodyguard and Yaya are two of my favorite songs, but they don't fit. They don't belong on the album.
I don't know why
they're on the album.
I disagree.
Don't fit for me.
I disagree.
Both of them give me more of like 60s riding in your car type vibes. It didn't fit.
It fit for me. Because it sounds like old radio. The whole album is like you're listening to an old radio station and you're just changing through this country, like you're in this country part of town. Everything is country. And you're just changing through this real rustic, I don't know. For me, it feels like riding in the car through like the country. That's what it feels like.
And I'm not going to lie. I know everybody is going up for Jolene. And you know, I don't know if y'all know how I feel about that song. And Dolly Parton.
I know how you feel about it. I know you love some Dolly.
And I love the direction that the song was going in. However, something was missing for me.
Okay.
Something was missing. Something with, I don't know if it was like something with the way that it was written or what. Something was a little bit off or missing for me. But I loved like her take on Jolene, like the direction of the song, like the point of the song. I was like, yes,
I loved it.
Because ain't nobody finna be playing with Jolene and begging and pleading. Like, I love you, Dolly. That is my jam. But girl,
period. She was on some whole different energy. Yeah, she put that stank on it. I agree. So the first half of the listen, I did the first half of the listen prior to the whole family incident. And I couldn't go back to it until everything was just better. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I had no room for it. But then I went back to it.
Helped you through, honestly. Because some of the ballads were
But then after I got past a couple days, I went and listened to the end of it. I was doing some yard work out in the ground and things, having a great day. And for me, that was when I was like, okay. Because for me, it was also definitely Bodyguard. Definitely, what was the other one you said? Yeah. Love Yaya.
Yeah. Like, those was the box for me. Like, I
love it. I have to say, one of my favorite ones that I can't stop playing right now is Tyrant.
Yeah, everybody's
Tyrant is my Bob. My Bob. Tyrant is my Bob. I love it. But on another tip, and also Levi Jeans. I love Levi Jeans. Yeah. I feel like there's one more.
Miley have the best song on the whole album, though.
Yes.
That is Most the best Wanted song on the entire album.
Yes, I love the her and Miley song.
Miley sounds beautiful on that song.
My favorite song, I think, might still be, and I don't listen to it as much as I listen to like Tyrant and some of the other ones that are upbeat while I'm doing certain activities. It keeps my energy up. 16 Carriages. That to me, because when it came out, I said she is approaching country in such a unique way to where she still has moments where she honors the tradition of what people expect with some of country, but she still puts, that's why I think it was so important that she gave that disclaimer. This is not a country album. This is a Beyonce album. Just so we're all clear. Like, I need y'all to come into it with this. And she made history at the same time because right now the top 15, I think it's the Billboard country, the top 15 is all Beyonce. She's occupying all 15 of the top track. It's never before happened by a black artist on the country on the country charts, and she's occupied the top 15 with 15 of her tracks. That's why you put out a 24-track album. That's why you do
Daughter for me. Daughter? That was my second favorite song.
Love Daughter. I think that there were some other ones. I also, which one? Blackbird. Love Blackbird. Love Blackbird. I thought it was good. I wish that there was more balance with the background vocals. I wish that we had more of them present.
That it was one of my things, because you can also, so like we know Beyonce has a vibrato. She used to live in it. So this ain't, we all know sis got the vibrato, right? But for me, I felt like there were moments where she leaned into it that didn't fit, like it didn't flow, like, for me. And when you hear how smooth like Tanner Adele and like Miley were on the song, and when they were on it with her, you can hear the difference of like who sings country, like who really knows, you know what I mean?
This is because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Some of it wasn't smooth.
There's this thing that I study Beyonce's vocals, because she is one of my she's one of my favorite.
In the context.
No, yeah, like and you're absolutely spot on, because there is a Beyonce approach that she's done in the past 10 years to things, where she will put so many words or so many syllables in a phrase, it's almost impossible to replicate. So and then she'll put these sometimes weird vibrato-ish runs on things. And the truth of the matter is, I think a lot of why she does it is so that it's harder for people to replicate it to the way that she does it. Beyonce, since having the twins, her range has expanded in such a weird way, to where her upper range is very heady. It's not where she can't do what she used to do back in the day, full chested. Like she was full chested because she ain't had no babies. Yeah. Now she didn't have these babies, and what she can do full chested is low. And in her what's called tessitura, her very comfort range, she's going to give you strong vocals. But when it gets to those heady things, it sounds different than it used to. Beyonce's voice has changed. So in the past 10 years, she's had to change how she approaches music. She can't do what she was doing in Crazy in Love anymore. She's not that singer anymore. Not that what she does now is bad, because every single singer, like you could say any of the, Mariah Carey has said the same thing.
Alicia Keys went through it. Dang.
But there have been Adele.
Her voice no more.
Adele's range changed. I think maybe even Jennifer Hudson. A few of them, they had range changes because
Mariah didn't have her voice for a second too.
Mariah, the twins took her voice, and then she was ugly, and God gave the rest of her voice to Ariana Grande for a season and made her do the. Ariana popped when Mariah came back nasty.
That was he was like, that's not 13 or something.
He was like, give me that back, because until you do right by me.
Yes, I remember that.
And gave it to Ariana. Which, speaking of, now that usually we don't talk as much about non-Black and non-people of color artists on the show, because this is a spotlight for Black culture. Just to be clear, that's what this is. Conversations that spark conversation among our community. I think that just goes without saying. But I do think, and I know a lot of people have side eyes to her, and I think her personal really has nothing to do with what I'm about to talk about. Miss Ma'am Ariana Grande put out an album. And since over the past 3 or 4 albums of hers, I started listening to her as a vocalist, as someone who studies, who really listens to what they do. I'm going to say something really controversial right now, and I need y'all to buckle in, because I think some people won't be ready for this, but if you do the studying, you'll see it. When it comes to people talking about the next person who's going to do the type of thing that Beyonce is doing, who's going to come up and have the type of empire, not the same size, not the same impact, not the same community. Let me be very clear, because if there's anybody's side I'm choosing when it comes to picking these artists, it's going to be Beyonce's side. But I just have to say, after listening to Ariana Grande's last album and having listened to the past 4 or 5 of hers, Miss Ma'am is doing some of the closest things musically, with layering, with vocal production, with the way that she approaches music from her own, like doing her own lane kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she is the only one, like the ones that people are trying to prime, Chloe and Halle and Normani. Nobody is really putting out music the way that Ariana Grande is consistently, the same way Beyonce. I don't know if y'all know this, but Beyonce has put out music every year since she went solo.
And that's
every
why I
single
don't see,
year.
Like the way, no shade, because I don't want the Swifties coming for me, but I don't, like, when you want to talk about somebody, like, I would go, like, Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, you know, singers, girls who have vocal, you know, and girls who also still perform. Because,
I agree.
Did you see, Miley looks so good. Did you see her new video and her new song?
The doctor one. She looks absolutely fabulous.
She looks amazing.
She's found her lane.
The song is a whole bop. The song is a whole bop. I was here for it. I love it.
She's absolutely found her lane.
Her bag right now.
This whole rock country, but glam.
That is her bag. That is
but
her
it's
bag.
Glam. It's fabulous. She's been doing it for the past couple years. The mullets, I'm here for it. She's in it. It's fabulous.
She's found it.
Miley is someone who's probably going to put an album out soon. I think we should totally talk about it. Because Miley she's very unique for millennials. And we do speak about things from a millennial perspective. We saw her as Hannah Montana, you know, like we saw the trajectory and the change. And when she was,
I love Miley.
Hannah was not my gig.
Couldn't do Hannah.
Hannah was not my gig. I would watch it with family members who enjoyed it, but Hannah was not my gig. Best of both worlds.
I did like The Climb, though. The Climb
The
was
Climb?
jam.
Now, see, that was Miley Cyrus. That wasn't Hannah Montana.
That was what reeled me in. I was like, you know what? You guys,
she sang that thing down. It's The Climb. I mean, she did that. No, that was good. That was a whole bop. But no, legit, like, I think as we're watching the next, because we're really at this point of transition. We're about to see a new wave of the next people in all forms of art take hold and take seat. I think we should be looking.
Miley being like legendary, like Celine, like being that girl when she gets up there. I can see her doing it.
Beyonce?
Not singing vocally. But I'm saying status, like her status and like how people view Celine. When Miley gets that age, she's gonna be like that Celine for that era.
I have a better comparison. She's gonna be like Dolly. I wasn't
saying vocally.
No, she's gonna be like Dolly though, because you know Dolly's like her godmom. She's gonna be like Dolly. She's gonna age like Dolly. Like
Miley has the only other Jolene
accomplice. I like Miley's Jolene. I enjoyed it a lot. Beyonce's Jolene, it was different and I liked it. Yeah, I liked the fresh approach because she didn't sing it as a straight cover of Jolene. It was a remix of Jolene and I liked that. So Cowboy Carter was a pleasant surprise. I knew that it was going to be different, but like we've said, she doesn't put out bad albums. Like she will cut 30 songs. No problem. She doesn't put out bad albums.
I'm glad she said like this is a Beyonce album because you can go into it with that
a different mindset. Yes.
Because if you go into it with like, oh, this is a country album mindset, you're gonna be nitpicking.
Very disappointed.
If you go into it with like this is the Beyonce album, then it's like yes.
I also think, excuse me. I also think this is really wonderful for the Black community, in particular the Beehive, because sometimes so I was on the Facebook and I saw some people having a conversation and they were Wahite and they were having a conversation about Beyonce and I knew I didn't want to read the comments. I knew not to read the comments, but like a fool, I clicked open the comments and I was watching people say why they didn't like it and it was only Texas Hold'em, which I'm not even the biggest fan of Texas Hold'em. It's okay.
We like Texas Hold'em.
It's okay. I think it's okay. It's catchy. I give her that. It's definitely catchy. But when I listen to the full body of work, I don't even go back and listen to Texas Hold'em that much. Because Tyrant for me takes over Texas Hold'em. That's I'm like, no, I don't. It's cute. It's cute though. And it's catchy. But I was watching them have a conversation about how she's garbage and she's this and she's that and she's the other. And then I got on the Twitter because I'm not calling it by its new name. I got on the Twitter, and there was a white woman, Wahite woman, and she said that she was doing a stitch about this other white woman who had said, I don't know, I just feel like this just really does it for me. Like, it's almost a thumbnail moment. Like, but this other woman, she had said how she didn't like Beyonce's country album, and she was about to explain why. And then the woman did a stitch of it. And she was saying, honestly, it doesn't even really matter why, because she started to break down the reality of why the industry is so different to a Beyonce than it is to a Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about how she was having conversations with people, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift, blah, blah, blah. I went to the concert. It was amazing. It was this, that, and the other. Don't you just love Taylor Swift? And she goes, no, I'm really more of a Beyonce fan. And they're like, how could you? How could you like Beyonce over Taylor Swift, blah, blah, blah. And they're just giving her shit. Like, they're giving her all the things, and she was just and she was just basically like, she told him, she was like, well, you could never understand that. And she's like, and I have to accept my place in it, because as white women, we could never understand what it takes for a black woman to get up there and do what she does, and then to do it to the lens of America, and to be addressed and assessed and to be judged the way that she is. She's like, they'll never appreciate her the way that they appreciate a Taylor Swift because of the way that the system is set up. Like, and that's just the craziness of it. Like, and I do have to, I'm not backtracking and I'm not recanting, because I've never been a Swiftie. I've never been a Swiftie. Don't let Dee's face fool you. I have never been a Swiftie.
Allegedly.
Boo. Never been a Swiftie. In the past, I talked about the fact that she was selling out stadiums, and commercially, as a product, they look at them in the same field. As a product, they look at them equally. That's how the industry looks at them, equally as products. The reality of it is that what it's taken Beyonce to get to where she is, to be on that same stage,
and that was my thing,
is 100 times harder, greater, and so much more work than what it's taken. A million times
like it was
for Taylor Swift. It is absolutely disrespectful.
It was absolutely disrespectful for them to even have that conversation. And it's just
absolutely disrespectful.
Even with people trying to have the Beyonce Michael Jackson conversation. Listen, that's not a conversation. It's just not. And it's not about better, but when you talk about global impact, when you break it down to the songs and the impact of the songs, his impact is still, like, it's a totally different stratosphere globally than, and it's not a knock to what she's doing, because what she is doing is still globally astounding. Like, everybody can't do that, but it's not.
Everybody can't do it.
You can't compare.
And it's also different
those
eras.
Two things.
You have to, like, they also have to. There's so many things you have to include in that conversation, because it's also different eras. It's completely different eras of music. The conversation
that you said of, like, the work ethic of it, because his was at a time where there was no social media. Like, it was groundwork. Like, you had to be out here, and so it was a completely different ball game. And then on top of that, his level of scrutiny, she hasn't even experienced that level of scrutiny of what Michael Jackson went through. Not that anybody should go through it, but it's like, for him to still make the type of music that he made and go through what he went through at the time that he went through it, it's just, we got to stop comparing stuff that don't.
We do.
It don't matter. Like, we got
to
stop doing that. And I'm like, just let her be in her lane, doing her thing. The disrespect of comparing her to Taylor Swift, like, how dare you?
I don't think that there is another. I mean, like, in all reality, the only other artist at this time who's not even a current performing artist for real, that you could compare Beyonce to is going to be Rihanna. That's going to be the only one. And she's not active right now. So it's like, there is no, because now I would say, if you want to cross the genres, if we're doing cross genre, there's a conversation for Lady Gaga, but that's just me as a Lady Gaga fan.
And there's conversation. Like, Lady Gaga has been kind of like on the, like, below the radar. Like, she kind of been
because of the movie, girl. It's because of the movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in the music aspect of it, she kind of.
Well, she's about to drop an album with the movie. That's what she's been doing. She's been on 3 soundtracks.
That's what they've been doing.
She's a soundtrack. She's a soundtrack girl now. We got Stars Born. We got Top Flight, Top Gun.
And don't get me wrong, they have all been
and now
great,
the Harley Quinn. Because she's finna do this Harley Quinn movie with Joaquin Phoenix. I'm really excited about this. I think that's going to be so
why
interesting.
was I the other day years old when I found out that River Phoenix is Joaquin Phoenix's brother?
Boo, D. Boo. How many famous Phoenixes? Yeah. How many famous Phoenixes do you think there are? There's like 3 of them that were famous.
Coincidence that
there's like 3 of them in that family.
But really, I never connected them in my brain in the worlds because they just didn't connect for me.
Boo.
They just didn't. And I was watching Dark Side of the 90s and they were talking about the Viper Room.
The Viper Room.
And I was like, oh, wait.
Yes.
That's
Swear River Phoenix. Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Because, prior to that, didn't nobody even know who his brother really was like that. Like, he wasn't.
Well, he was on the up and up. He was on the up and up. Like, River Phoenix was about to be.
Well, no, I'm saying, but Joaquin Phoenix, like, nobody didn't really know at that time.
Not as much,
he wasn't. So it just
River Phoenix was about to be like, he was about to be head to head with Heath Ledger. River Phoenix. That's what he was about to do. Like, and it's just unfortunate. Like, we should totally do a 27 Club episode. We should totally do it because I'm pretty sure River Phoenix is 27 Club. We could probably do that. So before we get, we got a For the Culture that we're planning, y'all, but just wait because we got some more places to go. Friends, because there were a couple things that came to me.
How many of us have them?
Right. Friends. And actually, it's crazy because what I was thinking about naming this episode is, what about your friends? Like a little TLC tease, like a little.
They had one of them TV movies too that was called What About Your Friends? Who was in that? It was a bunch of the girls that was popping back then was in it too.
Was that the TLC movie? The one where they had Lil Mama and Kiki Palmer?
Like, not their
That was
bio.
VH1. That was VH1.
That was VH1. It was not a song. It was a movie. It was called What About Your Friends? And what was the girl? Because it had all the girls in it. Let me find it.
No, I don't remember What About Your Friends.
I can't believe you never.
It sounds familiar.
That.
It sounds familiar though.
Because it had
off the top of my head, I don't remember it.
The girl from Players Club that played Lisa Ray cousin. She was in it.
I never remember her name. Sorry to that woman.
Not sorry to that woman. Monica Calhoun, that's her name.
Monica, I knew it was Monica something.
Yes. I can't believe you never seen that. That came out in the 90s. Yeah. I used to watch that movie. It used to come on TV.
Maybe I did see that, because that sounds familiar. What About Your Friends?
Because what channel did he used to come on?
I feel like it was a lot
all the time.
Oh. With that girl, that's not Lark, is it?
Lark. Who is Lark?
Lisa from I think that is Lark. Lisa from Saved by the Bell. Yeah, Lark Voorhees. That's her name.
Oh yeah, that is her.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay. This looks familiar. I probably did see it. Okay. What About Your Friends? Rewatch. Rewatch and review.
Yes.
But I had some questions kind of drop in my heart as we were doing our friendship episode and just talking about friendship and things that have happened since then. So I wanted to ask you this because this is something I started thinking about.
Okay.
Where did your first, your ideal friendship group, where did that come from for you?
So my first ideal friendship group is actually my mom and all of her friends who lived in Milwaukee. So my godmom, Jerry, her friend Charlotte, Tiffy, they used to always, when I tell you, they was the girls, they was the crew.
The crew. Yes, for the little shimmy. We love it.
They used to always, they would go out and stuff. Sometimes they would come and my mom would do dinner parties. Or she had got into, I feel like everybody's mom used to sell tea light candles. And so she used to have tea light parties. Or we would have game nights and stuff. And her friends, they would always come over. And it would always be so much fun. And even with them, even if they went through stuff, they just always worked through it. Was always good friends. If anybody went through anything, they was there for each other. That was my first view of the girls.
That's beautiful. Because see, with my mom growing up, her friends were all people in the church. So it was always very holy. Like,
it was
so that was not
different.
always my like, I sound horrible, but that
was
was,
church girls.
when I tell you, no, okay, I'm gonna tell you shortly, briefly. So I come from one of the Pentecostal faith where we do the speaking of tongues and, the laying on of hands.
I didn't know you was Pentecostal.
Yes. It's the holiness group in particular. So Pentecostal. And I remember sometimes my mom's friends would come over and they're all like blessed, anointed ministers, and they would greet each other and they would hug and just be like, hey, sister so-and-so, hey, sister, and just hug. And I would be in a different room and I would hear the spirit, and you would just hear them like caught up in the spirit of just greeting each other. And to me so I actually have to say that actually was kind of role model-esque to me, because it was a joy. It was a joy that you can't describe. It was I remember this one sister in particular, this one minister in particular, very close with her and her family. But I remember she came over one day and they were so loud that I had to come out and see what was going on, because she's already loud by herself, but they were just so loud and my mom was just like laying hands on her in the living room. And it was the beauty of that spiritual friendship. So that's something I've always kind of known I wanted, was friends that I had a spiritual relationship with. I think without realizing it.
Like, see, they used to be loud, but like it was kind of like I remember one time me and Brittany was walking down the street because we had walked to the gas station and we was coming back. We heard them all the way to the end of the block. When I say cackling, hands just hollering. That was they hollering. When nobody laying hands, child, they was cackling.
Well, they was laying hands over here. They was laying hands over here.
They was loud, and they used to be loud too. But it was the greeting was, hey. Like on the Fresh Prince when the sisters got together.
Yeah, very cute.
It was that type of loud.
But I think like for me, my role model friendships actually came from like some TV shows. I can name in particular, I'm thinking That's So Raven and The Proud Family. That to me, I was like, I want that group of friends right there. I want that vibe, that energy, that where it's just, the few of us and we just always have a good time. And I don't know, I never really thought about it before that. Like that does kind of play a part in how we view what friendship should look like, how we experience friendship and how we view it in those around us as we grow up. Like, I think it definitely plays like a major role in how we view friendship. Because for me, that was like one of the things I was always looking for. It's like, is there a vibe? Do we have a vibe? Are we vibing?
The only TV friends I could think of is Ron and Kim Possible. Those was my TV friends.
Love them. Best friends. Love that. Yeah.
I love their friendship.
Love it. Well, how about this? I had another question. So we've talked about it in the previous episode that friendships are like roller coasters. They shouldn't be difficult to be friends with somebody, but that doesn't mean you want to experience highs and lows in the relationship.
Right.
So how do you handle hurt? How do you handle hurt in a relationship with a friend?
Honestly, for me, it depends, because I'm such like an emotion driven person, and like I'm a water baby. I be tapped into my feels. It really will depend on how you make me feel. There are certain things, and then I also don't emotionally have a middle. So for me, it's like you either did something to where it's like I don't fool with you, or it's like I'ma just fool with you differently, but I'm still cool with you. But it's like we either cool or we not. Like it ain't no in between. And so it really for me depends on what you do. And if I feel disrespected, it's gonna be a no for me. Like disrespect is usually where it's gonna be a no for me.
Yeah.
And it's because y'all was getting up a child, y'all 5011 Fam, they was eating me up. We were supposed to be celebrating my baby birthday, and it just turned into like a reading of me and how I be bad with my boundaries with my friends and how I be going up for these people. They was eating me up, y'all. They was tagging your girl.
I don't know who was eating her up, because I was not. I did no such thing.
Y'all was on like, yes, you doing too much. Yeah, because you ain't even gotta be doing that. Yeah, you shouldn't have been doing it. Y'all was eating me up.
And for me,
but
like,
y'all was right though. Y'all
that was the thing.
Right.
It was from a place of love. It wasn't from a place of like finger pointing and you're bad, you're wrong.
But y'all
it was like
you
love so hard that when someone's taking advantage of you, you don't want to accept that they're taking advantage of you at first. You still want to love them, and maybe they're going to change. Like, well, if I just put a little more love on it, maybe they'll stop taking advantage of you.
Yes, and that's the problem. It's like I have this, it's like a gift and a curse where I can see the good in people. I can see how far people can go. I can literally, if you tell me, Jay, if somebody tell me they want to do something, I'm like, ooh, so you can do this, you get this,
you can do it, give them the pack, give them the...
That is a gift that I have, but at the same time, I tend to want more for people than they want for themselves or than they're ready for it. They have to be ready for it. It has to be the right time.
It has to be theirs.
Exactly.
Their choice, their decision.
Understand it is their journey. And so I have to, the way I do it now is like, I ask myself, if this person stays exactly who they are forever, no change, no evolution, no nothing, can this person be in my life as they are with no changes, good or bad? And if the answer, if there's something where I'm like, but I don't feel like dealing with this, then you got to go.
You gotta go.
Sorry, you got to go. Because your girl ain't good with boundaries, so you got to go. I can't be in between with you. I can't kind of sort of fool with you. I'm just not going to fool with you because I ain't going to deal with it.
I feel that. For me, I've been a little different. I think, especially in the past few years, I've gotten really like strong with my boundaries. And I think it's just kind of natural for Aries to want to have boundaries. And once we establish them, be like, that's the boundary bit. Like, that's it. You see it? You see the boundary? Like, I think we're just that's just kind of how we are naturally aggressive. Like, we can naturally get to that place real quick. For me, when I'm hurt, because also naturally very sensitive, very sensitive. So it'd be the smallest gesture and my feelings be hurt. I'd be hurt, y'all. My feelings be hurt. So for me, I try and be very vocal is what I've learned, that for me, if I don't say it, I have to look at me saying something to somebody as me standing up for myself. I have to view it that way instead of me being, because I've historically viewed it as, oh, were you about to complicate things? Oh, were you about to be a problem? Oh, were you about to make an issue out of a non-issue?
But know what? If it complicates things or becomes a problem, that's your answer.
Boom. And now I know that, like now I know that because of the boundaries I've established and because I take full-heartedly, like I'm not responsible for how someone experiences me. I'm responsible for what I contribute to that. Like that's what I'm responsible for. I'm not responsible for what you do with what I give you. That is all about you. So for me, I think that's where I've been learning is like when I'm hurt, when I'm upset, when I feel disrespected, when I feel, even if that was not the intention, I found that I have to now say something. I have to be like, hey, like this happened and it hurt me. This is how it made me feel. Or this is what it triggered in me that maybe someone was or was not aware of. Like, I think now that I'm doing that kind of growth and that that reflection and getting really, turning inward, doing a lot of inward, and that inner work, I've chosen to respond to people differently. Like, and we're about to get into our fourth culture, but I have to tell this quick story because I have a smart mouth. I have a very slick mouth. Right. We see each other. So I had this moment at work where I've been having a difficult relationship with someone who's a superior of mine. For whatever reason, this person does not like me. I try and do everything professional. I try and go above and beyond. I try and do things to make life easier. And it's always responded with nice, nasty. It's always responded with, well, you need to do this next. This is what you should have done. So when those things happen, they started to chip away at me. They were chipping away at me and revealing insecurities and revealing things I still needed to work on because it was making me feel some kind of way because they had my job. This was my job too. That's the other thing. The other layer of it, this person has my job. I was supposed to have this job and this person has my job. And now you're coming into this job with an attitude and I've been a rock star towards me and for no reason. And there's a connection, I promise you, because we're talking about sticking up for ourselves and what we do when we go to places where we're hurt. And this person had a final gesture that really hurt me on a day that I was already emotional, dealing with some other ish. And I'm very proud of what I said to said person. I said something to this person and got them together. And essentially what I said is, I don't know why you have a problem with me. You've had a problem with me since you got here. and I've done nothing to you. All I've done is be professional and try and do my job. But right now, I'm going to take a different route. I'm choosing to let you figure it out. I'm choosing to gather my belongings, gird up my loins, throw my satchel on my back, and walk out the door. And you figure it out. I'm going on leave. You and I have nothing else we need to talk about. Nothing. We can talk about this when you get back. Absolutely not. We will not be talking about this when I get back. HR and I will talk about this on Monday. You have a great weekend now. I've never been the HR calling type because HR is not there for you. HR is there for the business. But what I learned in this moment is that sometimes when you try and take everything on by yourself and you reach this point, I don't know if y'all remember, but I'll be pulling my books out in Jay's Safe Space. And I've got that book over there, Atlas of the Heart. And there's a chapter on frustration that we talked about, where frustration is a place where you reach when things seem to be completely out of your control, when there seems to be nothing you can do to change it. I was at a position where I was like, there's nothing I can do to make this heifer right here not be on me in a way that makes my job more difficult. There's nothing I can do. And I prayed about it. And that's the thing about it, is you pray about it, but faith without works is dead. I had to do something about it. And I had to read her in the most professional way possible. So, speaking of readings that need to be done, you see how I did that segue right there? I set you up, DiDi. I set you up.
Speaking of readings that need to be done.
Readings that need to be done. Lay it out for the children.
So,
for the culture this week.
For the culture that ain't the child.
Against the culture this week.
What the culture ain't for. Okay.
Right.
So, for those who don't know, there is a Good Times cartoon show premiering on Netflix.
Right.
Seth MacFarlane, which that name alone tells you
everything that you needed to know.
I believe Steph Curry is an executive producer, and there's a black lady, I can't remember her name, but she's the one that's like
showrunning.
Over it. Yeah.
Marseille Martin.
Marseille Martin's a part of it, and Jay's bestie, his good girlfriend.
Stop calling that lady my bestie. Stop that. This is your friend. You're bringing your auntie to the table.
Jay's good Judy, Yvette Nicole Brown.
I cannot. Boo.
She is, I believe she's playing the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's supposed to be like a remake, but more of like a reboot. And it's about, they're supposed to be like the grandkids or something like that.
Something like that.
It was trash. If you've seen it, who cares? It was trash.
It was not good. I agree.
The mass majority of the people said no. Said absolutely not. Said, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
But Yvette Nicole Brown said, no.
Flat-footed.
You will not. Because a lot of people were going to her. A lot of people like Jay are her good Judy. They love her. They think she's amazing.
Now, how I get in it?
That's your girl.
We're talking about your TT this week.
I know this lady.
Me following her on Twitter ain't got nothing to do with this.
So Jay's auntie said to us that didn't like it.
We just be getting closer and closer each time you bring her up.
Like next you'll be your mom next.
Right. Next time she go Jay's partner.
Right. Jay's wife said.
Right. YNB.
Because people were like, oh my gosh, like I love Yvette Nicole Brown. Like I can't believe you're a part of this.
She's a part of this, yeah.
They were shocked. Like now, I granted there could have been people saying rude things. I don't know, but what I saw was more so people like, oh my gosh, like our girl is in this, you know?
Right.
And she felt like one more thing. Know what's a bigger threat to us as Black people than animated TV show? The amount of us who aren't registered to vote or who don't vote blue because people like Nina Turner tell them every politician is the same, which is a lie. They are not. That is how she, that was what she felt like. We needed to know. And my thing is this. Now, she went on a rant.
Absolute rant.
For days. She was responding to everybody. And her main response to everybody is like, y'all aren't worried about what's really plaguing Black people. My show is not plaguing Black people. And my thing is this. The reason why it disgusted me the way that she responded is because a lot of her tweets was her like proclaiming how much she's for the people and what she's done for the people. Mm-hmm. And I hate an old "what I done for you." Like, when we're calling out, like, how are you for the people? Deflecting. But then when the people have a critique on something that you chose to be a part of, now the people are the problem.
Comes out. Yeah, now the checklist comes out. What I did.
Is we ain't voting blue. That's the problem.
That's the issue.
Not the show that you are on that is continuing to perpetuate a stereotype.
Perpetuating stereotypes. That's the big problem.
But disrespect the history of the people that fought for the show. Mm-hmm. Because John Amos left the show because of he started to see the direction that it was going in, and it was not what they had agreed to. And them making that cartoon is literally a slap in the face of all they felt and fought for and what they wanted for that show to be. And I don't understand how somebody who's so tapped in doesn't get that. Somebody so for the people, they don't understand that.
Yeah.
Your predecessors, the people who came before you and paved the way for you, understood it.
Period.
The previous mother of the show understood the importance of how her people are represented. How you don't. And then to insult the intelligence of your people as if we can't pay attention to two things at once.
At the same time, period. Two things can be true simultaneously.
Two things can be true at the same time. You are on a whack show that is disrespectful to your people.
And
people don't be registering to vote. Because that's what we need to be worried about. Not critiquing you. Like, how are you above? Like, I
think the reality of it, because what disappointed me going back and looking at the situation is that she could have solved all of this with one statement. She could have been like, I feel it. I respect y'all's opinion. Wait till the project comes out. Let me know if you feel the same way. But y'all, the check that they sent me on this thing right here, I had to do it.
Real.
I got bills that got to be paid. I got things that have to be taken care of. And the opportunity was there. Who was going to turn down an opportunity at good times? Keep it real.
Mind you, she got mad at the people for reacting to a trailer. But it's like, girl, the trailer is supposed to give you a setup of what the show is going to be about. So if it has all of this great stuff that you proclaim is in it, and it's so revolutionary like you claim it, because she literally was claiming all these things that the trailer gave not a piece of.
And the trailer gave like, buffoonery.
Complete. And buffoonery. My thing is like, if it had all of that in it, you should feel disrespected that's the trailer they put out to attract your people. Mm-hmm. That's what they thought that was going to draw your people in.
It's going to be a disappointing drop.
And you don't see how that's a problem? Oh, but we need to be focused on voting. No,
she would have been better off not saying anything, honestly. She would have been better off not saying anything and just letting them believe like what they want to believe.
She even started resorting to like, oh, I'm from da-da-da. Like, girl, nobody cares where you're from.
That's the problem. That's the problem. It's like, I followed YNB on socials for a few years now. Especially during Trump's presidency, it was hilarious being a follower of hers during his presidency. Yeah. I mean, hilarious. She grilled him every single day. It was fabulous. But looking at it now, I'm no longer interested in seeing her post, like, because this is my thing. Is you said something, we were chatting about it. You said something like, how can you be for the people when the situation, when when the eyes are not on you, when the limelight's not on you, and it's not a personal critique. But when it's a personal critique, now all of a sudden you're just the master deflector. Like,
Exactly.
How can you be for the people when it's not about you? But you can't be for the people when the people are coming to you saying this is the issue.
It's only if we agree with you. Then
only when it's convenient.
For the people.
Only when it's convenient. So I completely agree with you.
Performative. It makes everything like, and as soon as it starts becoming a what I do for the people, like, girl, if you gotta list out what you do, that tells me everything I need to know.
Everything. And I would even go so far as to say the way that she handled this and who she is the difference. Like, you can see the difference between someone like her and someone who's currently blackballed like Amanda Seales. It's a clear difference. The character, the material that they choose, because also at the end of the day, you had the same choice like John Amos to pull out of that project when you saw how that thing was progressing, and you didn't. You were like, oh yeah, I can say that.
And what's
I'm okay with that.
lady's name that played? I always forget her name that played Florida Evans, but like she, because I didn't want to call her.
I see her face.
But y'all know exactly who I mean. But she not only fought for him to be on the show, but she fought for that family direction of the show. And it's like, even when it became, because a lot of what they didn't like was that they started to focus on JJ as like this caricature. And he was like supposed to be like dumb and unemployed and running around saying dynamite all the time. And they wasn't feeling the direction.
Her name was Esther Rowe. That was her name. Okay, Esther Rowe. Yeah. Yes. Esther Rowe. I think she was also very educated. If I'm not mistaken, she had like a PhD.
Yeah.
Very, very educated.
She fought for the people. She fought for the direction of the show. And it's like, to be defensive about it instead of like hearing, because it's not like one or two people were like, oh, I don't like this, and everybody else was like, no, it was good. Everybody is like, disagreed. What is this and why is it? Like, it wasn't even like, oh, we don't like it. It was like, why is this happening? Who asked for this? What's going on?
I remember you sent it to me and I was like, what's that supposed to be? Like, what is that supposed to be?
When I seen it, I was just like, I'm not going to be the only person that had to experience this.
I was so confused. I was watching it and I was just like, what is this? I'm like, what is this?
It's
that meme where Cardi B is like, what is that? What is that? Like, that's how I felt. I was so confused just as it continued to play. And I'm like, this had to be made by white people. That's literally what I thought to myself.
She said nothing.
Nothing at all.
It literally would have been better had she said just nothing at all.
No smoke, no bad publicity, like nothing at all.
Nobody else has said anything, I don't believe. I don't think anybody else is really saying anything. We're gonna see. Went on for 40 days and 40 nights.
You know what? For the sake of it, I might watch it to review it.
So personal.
I might watch it to review it. Maybe we can do that. We can see. Because I don't anticipate it's going to be good. I anticipate it's going to be very difficult to get through.
She is so prolific, and it has all these amazing things that we couldn't see just from a trailer. And I'm just like, well, why didn't they put any of it in the trailer?
I feel like this is them trying to remake Boondocks. And
that's even more disrespectful.
I'm like, I'm not excited about it. I don't know, because something about
fun of this show.
Something about the tone and the energy that they were trying to put out seemed like they were trying to do what Boondocks did in animated form, like how Boondocks did that in animated form.
Like Seth MacFarlane was a part of it. That's
it definitely felt like it definitely gave that. It definitely gave that, absolutely. So
because we saw the Cleveland show, child.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. I saw a couple episodes and I was like, I can't do this. So y'all, we just really want to thank y'all so much for tuning into this episode. Get down in there. We want to hear about like how y'all handle those difficult moments in friendships. Like, engage with us. Talk to us, children. Talk to us. Or like, what were your role models of friends growing up? Were they personal? Were they people you saw in your family, or were they people you saw on TV? Like where did you see that ideal friendship? So we thank y'all again so much for tuning into this episode. It's been a lovely chat. We've done the things. We've got the hearts ready. We've got the peace signs ready. We're sending love. We're just so thankful that you've chosen the 5011 Chronicles this week, and we will see you next week for another one. Peace.
Do you remember?
Oh, that's what it is. It's the 2 peace signs give me the confetti.
Oh. I'm not on my iPad.
Oh, well, I'll do it for you.